to Mondays with Mom, the podcast where I, Jo, and my mom, Leah,
Hi.
dive into her stories and life experiences. And as you know, my mom has always dreamed of turning her life into a book or a movie, and this podcast is our way of making that dream come true, one episode at a time. Happy 2026!
Yes, Happy New Year
Happy
to
New Year.
everybody.
We hope you have a great year, and we hope that you use this year to listen to us some more and all our new stories that we're going to be talking about, right, Mom?
Absolutely. We hope it's a fantastic year for all of us and happy, healthy, blessed year.
Yeah, agreed.
So today we're really excited because we've got Tina with us
Hi.
all the way from London.
Finally, you're back with us.
I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
We were thinking about this episode and having Tina with us. And the really, really exciting thing is that in a couple of days, it's going to be Mickey's birthday.
Woo! Happy
Wow.
birthday, Miki.
Or, yes, what we kind of assume is Mickey's birthday, or what we kind of gave Mickey an adoptive birthday.
It's his adopt-aversary.
His adoptive
Miki is my rescue dog for anyone that's unaware of who
Yes.
Miki is.
If you guys are unaware, then it's really bad because Mickey is famous. I always tell everyone I've got a famous grandson. Mickey is actually an influencer.
Wow.
He's
Okay,
trying
well-
to be.
Listen, if I had above 70,000 followers, which I suspect by the time this podcast airs, he might be closer to 80,000 followers, I would call myself an influencer.
I think you're only an influencer if you're influencing people.
Okay, the fact is that Tina got a DM from people in the United States that were coming over to London who had on their wish list. They were going to spend a couple of days in London, and their wish list went like this: we'd like to go see Buckingham Palace, Westminster Abbey, and a meet and greet with Mickey. So you tell me, is that famous or not famous? I think he's famous, and I'm actually on his coattails. I tell everybody that Mickey is my famous grandson. I am a famous grandmother.
She is the Kris Jenner of this family.
That's who I am. I'm a Kardashian at heart. So what I was thinking about was how we actually adopted Mickey and how Tina ended up with this famous grandson of mine who actually wasn't famous originally.
Until recently, about a year ago, I think.
Until about a year ago. The poor guy came from a very, very
Rough.
rough upbringing. He was in the townships in Katlehong. We suspect, we don't know, but we suspect that he wasn't very well looked after and he was left to his own devices. And Mickey, being quite a little reactive guy, might have ended up in a little bit of a fight with someone and ended up slitting his tongue, which is one of the cutest things, that this little dog has got a slit tongue, guys.
Like a little snaky boy.
Yeah, he looks like a little lizard.
But maybe Tina can just tell us a little bit. I mean, I've got a lot to say about this, but Tina can just tell us a little bit about how we came about adopting Mickey.
Well, I think the credit has to go to Aliki with this one a little bit, because after our first family dog, Barbie, very cute Pomeranian, after she passed away, I kind of was missing the feeling of having a dog or like a companion in the family because Barbie hated me. We got Barbie when I was like 2 years old, and
She remembered everything that we put her through. Not that we tortured the poor baby.
yeah, but at 2 years old, I wanted to dress her up in my Barbie clothes, put her in my doll prams,
Yeah, the poor dog.
Poor dog put up
chase
with a lot.
her, try and like pick her up, but you don't know how to pick up a dog at that age. So she spent her whole life hating me until she died. Like, rest her soul, but she was very cute. After that, I realized that I'm really a dog person. I would love all my friends' dogs and they would love me, and I really wanted that feeling again. And I think it had been maybe a year or two after Barbie passed away. No, a bit longer
bit
than
longer
that.
than
Maybe
that.
like 3 years.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
in my phase where people have, when they lose a dog that they really, really love, where they feel, I'm not getting another dog. I can't. I'm going to travel the world and I'm going to do all these things. And I was planning on traveling the world, which I did do a little bit in 2019. And then my ideas of traveling the world, COVID had other ideas.
Yeah.
But anyways, the credit goes to Aliki because when I started my whole I want a dog and I really want to get another family pet and all of that, I started looking at pure breed dogs because I thought that's all I've ever known.
And what kind of breed were you looking at?
I
don't remember
really
this.
wanted, what are those big fluffy white ones? Samoyed.
Samoyed.
That's what I really, really
Oh, and that's
wanted.
what Tina actually needed, guys, because if she sounds a little bit nasal at the
Oh,
moment, I think Samoyeds are actually known to be hypoallergenic.
But I think they shed more than any other dog in the whole world. Anyways, I really wanted a Samoyed, and they are big dogs. I think they're almost the size of a husky or something like that.
Beautiful looking dogs.
They're stunning, and that's what I really wanted. And I was checking like
I
on
do remember.
websites and things, and I didn't think about having a rescue dog, to be honest, because I don't know, it just didn't cross my mind. Even though as much as I love dogs, I loved rescue dogs. I'd volunteered at shelters growing up and things like that, but all the dogs that I would see were these like mixed sort of rough big dogs. And now my mom told me, if we are going to get a dog, it will not be a big dog. So that kind of limited my options a bit.
But
And
we
so
wanted a dog that could sleep inside, not a
any
dog
dog
that was
can
an
sleep
outside.
inside.
No, but we wanted a dog who actually enjoys being inside and doesn't feel tortured at night, that is not running around in a garden. We wanted a dog that's comfortable sleeping inside. Of course, any dog can sleep inside.
Anyways, so I convinced my stepsister Aliki, who you guys may know by now, to help me look for a dog because she got very excited about this as well. She never had a family dog, I don't think, when she was growing up,
No.
other than our little Barbie.
You may be thinking, by the way, why was I not involved in this? And that's because I was away at uni.
Jo was
So-
studying overseas.
So I was
already,
not
so she
involved in
wasn't
this
at
at
home.
all.
And
So
she was
I was very upset that they wanted a dog without me.
mortified that everyone was making this
Anyways,
decision
no
without
one
her.
had decided anything. I was shut down so many times, and I kept on bringing the ideas, and I was shut down every single time. Eventually, what we decided was, let's follow all the rescue shelters on Facebook because that's where they post the pictures. And the reason why we got to the rescue pages was because we thought, if our parents keep saying no to pure breeds, how can they say no to a rescue that needs a home? And if you may know, maybe you don't by this stage, but my mom is someone who is very soft when it comes to people and animals and caring about people and animals. So I thought the one way she can't say no to us is if we find a rescue dog that fits the criteria of a dog that she would be okay with us bringing home.
It's the perfect plan.
And she thought that she was making impossible standards at this point because she was like, we will never find a rescue dog that's so like this small, and it mustn't shed, and it must be hypoallergenic, and it must be like this and like this and like this. And there were all these check boxes that needed to be ticked off before we could get a dog. And she thought she was very smart about this.
I think I was right. I don't think a dog exists with my criteria.
No, they
No, I
don't.
don't.
Exactly. So Aliki and I
criteria did not get ticked.
yeah, Alicia and I went and followed all the Facebook pages and were scrolling every day. And most of the dogs were big dogs, but we were very surprised to see that the majority of dogs on these Facebook rescue page sites were actually pure breed dogs, which was very, very interesting. Lots of huskies, lots of Pomeranians, lots of Pekingese dogs, which were all very,
a lot
very
of
cute.
Pomeranians, actually. That's a scary thing. Remember the one shelter we ended up getting Miki at, and eventually had Pomeranian puppies like every other week.
The thing about the Pomeranian puppies is that they would come in and stay there for about 4 seconds till somebody adopted them because they were unbelievably cute.
Anyways, so we found a lot of cute dogs that were rejected until we came across one specific picture. And this was of a dog called Little Boy. And Little Boy,
It was the worst picture I had ever seen. It's if you tell a photographer and say, do your worst job, like, I don't know, look in the opposite direction while you're clicking pictures. I've never seen such a bad picture of a dog.
he looked really bad, but he also didn't look like a typical dog. Now,
No, he looked like some seal that had been neglected, then starved, then turned upside down. I mean, this was the worst picture I've ever seen.
his tongue was half out his mouth that made it look like he had 3 tongues in his mouth. I don't know. It was such a weird picture, but his name was Little Boy. And on the picture, we couldn't see his whole body, but it said he's a pug mix. So I thought, okay, pug mix is small. A dog with the name Little Boy. Like, how can you resist that? Like a little ugly looking dog that's called Little Boy. Come on. So I got it in my head that this is the dog that we're going to adopt. And how funny would it be if we get this really ugly dog that needs a home and we just give it a good life? And it's one of these meme dogs that, yeah, it's the cutest thing because it's ugly. So
Like really ugly. I'd never seen an uglier dog in my life.
it's mean. But okay.
Poor Mickey.
Anyways, so I decided that I am going to go visit this dog if it's still available, because when they post the pictures, you still have to call them, find out if the dog's been adopted yet. And so we didn't know how long this post had been up for, because sometimes they remove the posts and repost them. And so, anyways, I decided I'm going to go. So
And she actually took like all her friends as well at the time. So like I think every single person that was in Tina's life at that point was coming with to see
Except
this
me.
dog.
well, everyone knew about this dog because I wouldn't stop speaking about
A
it.
second, I also had Tina's friends sending me messages because I had said that I didn't want to get another dog. I found it too painful after we lost Barbie. I had every single day, I had Tina's friends sending messages. I remember the one which was because there were lots of messages being sent me, but the one which, shout out to Gerard, I've never seen a message like this. It went on for hours and he kept saying them like 10 good reasons why you should get a dog, 5 good reasons why it should be a rescue dog, 3 good reasons why it should
Yeah,
be.
shout out to all my friends for backing me and supporting this dream of mine. As you can all see, it's paid off now. So everyone was really excited for me to get this dog and they really wanted me to get it. Anyways, my mom had said no. From the outgo, she said, this is the ugliest dog I've ever seen. We're not getting. She was used to like a pure breed
Pedigree.
Pomeranian, which is like the most perfect show dog you can ever have. And I was showing her this dog that looked like a half-eaten seal, basically.
Listen, I did have rescue dogs when I was
It was
younger,
still like all these big.
but we
looking
got them.
nice
We got
dogs.
them as a puppy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was not a puppy.
But
He
also,
was
that's the
about
thing.
3 years old.
Yeah, which I think none of us had ever had a dog that we hadn't had since a puppy.
We had never rescued an adult dog.
So that was also another thing we're like, we're worried about behavioral, like,
Exactly. Everyone
changes.
worries about that. What if this dog is aggressive? What if it bites you? What if?
because you don't know what he's been through before.
Exactly.
That did not deter Tina or Aliki or her friends.
Well, I convinced my friends, shout out to Nick, for come with me to visit Miki for the first time, because my mom said, no, I'm not coming. I don't want a dog.
Nick was very instrumental as well.
Yeah.
He was less sending me messages, but he was very supportive to you at the time.
Yeah, he was very supportive of this. So he came and we brought his sister as well. And we all went to the shelter, which wasn't very close to our house either. It was about a 30-minute drive away. And we took a road trip. Jo came with us.
Okay,
well,
I was back home because
who was very grumpy about this because she was upset that she lives in Greece now and she's not going to spend time with this dog. So the way that she kind of reacted to that was to be grouchy the whole time instead of being excited for me.
Oh,
Thanks
yes,
for that.
Jo, yes.
Yeah, I was so sad because I was hoping this dog to come home that I was never gonna see because I was gonna be away. But that we didn't know that COVID was gonna last so long. I thought we only at that point we
I
thought
think
COVID
at
was
this
gonna be a
thing,
few
Jo
weeks.
was just getting very jealous that Tina might get a dog and she wouldn't be able to get one because she was staying at Res at the time.
This is also beginning of 2020 before we even knew what COVID was. So yeah, there's also
But explain
that.
why you were so desperate to get a dog. Tina came to us and kept saying, you guys don't understand what second year actuarial is like. I've seen other people, they barely come out of it. Half the class drops out. Of the half that doesn't drop out, half end up in a mental institution. So she said, I'm going to be home all the time studying. I'm going to be studying 24 hours a day. And all I want is a little doggy that's going to sit in the room with me and keep me company while I'm studying.
Yeah, I just wanted some company. Anyways, so I went to the shelter with Nick and his sister and Jo, and we were all there together. And I was so excited. And I saw a little boy for the first time, and I was practically crying
She was
because
crying. There were videos of it.
I've got video evidence of me basically crying. And he was the only dog. I walked past all the dogs' cages to get to him, and every dog ran to the front of their cage and was jumping up and squealing and crying, and which breaks your heart first.
Yeah, you want to adopt all of them when you're there. That's the problem.
But secondly, I came to his cage and this dog looked at me, and instead of coming towards the gate of his cage, he turned around and went back to the back of his cage, not in a scared way or anything like that, but just like, oh, I don't care about this. This is like not interesting to me. So I thought, you know what? This is the dog for me. He does not care whether I'm there or not, because I knew some days I would be at university all day and I didn't want a dog that was going to get too attached to me. I wanted a dog that loves me enough to sit with me all day, but not to get depressed when I leave and have anxiety.
You
And
got that right, hey?
very, 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 very wrong. Complete opposite. But anyways, so he
You
was the
never met
only.
a more attached dog in your life.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. He obviously was attached to someone else before, or had never found a connection before, because he was a complete opposite dog to
No.
what I know today. But he walked away from me, and I thought that is my sign that this dog is not going to be so attached, and it doesn't care if there's a person at home or not, which is perfect. And so I thought this is the perfect dog. And then he lay down and he did this thing which people call a sploot. And it was summertime and he was in his little cage and he stuck his back legs out to lie down. And I thought, like, I was actually going to die. He was so cute. And that was it for me. I was like, this is the dog and I need him. And so I went back home and I showed my mom the pictures.
Remember, we also needed to convince George.
I know, but you weren't even convinced yet. I
No,
showed you the pictures
she
and I
still
said,
didn't
this
want
is the
him.
cutest dog I've ever seen in my life. And
But
I
hang on,
need him.
we're describing those same pictures of the
No, the
sealed.
pictures I showed you afterwards.
Okay.
Once I met him, I thought he is so much cuter than the pictures. Anyways, I show you, you weren't convinced still. You thought,
But I agreed to come and see him.
but I said you have to see him in person because the
And
pictures don't do him
this
justice.
is when the story really picks up.
And so I convinced my mom the following weekend to come with
To her,
me to
and-
the shelter. We took the whole drive, and you still said to me, I remember you were like, don't think that this is me agreeing to getting a dog. I'm just coming to see him because how can I believe that he's actually cute when these are the pictures I'm seeing? You weren't understanding what was going on. You thought I was like mentally ill or something.
Okay, I still think that, but that's
Thank
besides
you.
the point.
Thanks for
Okay.
that. So we arrived at the shelter and we get to the front desk and there's a different woman there this time from this first time that I arrived. And she is the manager of the shelter. And we say to her, listen, we're here to see little boy. Has he been adopted yet? And she said no, but she started getting very, very excited about this. And she was like, oh my goodness, little boy, and he's adorable, and he's like this, and he's so
But she
cute.
actually said to me, she said, please, please, you've got to take this dog. You have to take this dog. And I'm saying, why? What do you mean? And she said, he's actually got 9 days left.
Yeah,
Now there's the backstory here is all the SPCAs or those specific dog shelters in South Africa are only allowed to keep an animal for 3 months, exactly 3 months from the day that the animal is brought to them. And Miki, who had been there, or should I say, little boy at the time, had been there already. Someone tried to adopt him earlier and had agreed to it, and even went home with them. And I think him and their other family dog didn't get along. So they had brought him back. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that you come back a second time, your clock begins then again. Your clock was ticking from the very first time you were coming in. So Miki literally had 9 days left before euthanasia. And this woman, she said, you don't understand. He's an amazing dog. You actually have to take this dog. You have to take this dog. And I mean, she already said that before I went in to go see him.
So then obviously we get there and he's doing his little sploot again. And I'm already going crazy, going, we have to take him home. And especially after hearing this, like there was no going back for me. And so you decided after seeing him, you were like, okay, I see what there is about him. He's got a bit of a charm.
And he still didn't look the way he looks now. It's weird how happiness changes someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And love.
Happiness and love. Like I literally watched this doggy get cuter by the day.
And now he looks nothing like that picture that
And
we
I
saw.
think the other thing that I really, really fell in love with when it came to him was at some point, I don't remember, it was obviously Tina. She's got this bad habit of turning dogs upside down. She flicks them upside down and to pat their tummy. And as she did, and his head went back, he had this little patch of pink under his chin. And he almost looked like a baby shark turned upside down. And that also, I was very, very attracted to that. But the fact that I knew that this little guy had 9 days left was quite that was quite a pull. But we had to
Tina's dog.
convince George in the beginning.
George-
And one of the ways I convinced George, because George had been extremely attached to Barbie, one of the ways I convinced him was I kept saying, this will not be our dog. It's not our dog. It's okay. This is Tina's dog. Tina's going to look after it. Tina's going to feed it. And he said, oh, what if Tina's advice? I said, okay, we'll help her out a little bit, but this will be Tina's dog. And boy.
And she was saying this to us as well, like, this is not my dog, this is your dog, Tina. I'm not going to be involved. This is nothing. It's got nothing to do with me. And then, boy, did that change very quickly.
Anyways, we ended up adopting him.
We ended up adopting him.
And changing his name to Miki, which comes from, I thought he needs to still keep a bit of Greekness in his name.
Yeah,
but I
keep up
couldn't have a dog called Little Boy. If he's like running down the road, what am I going to scream, Little Boy, come back? Like, no. So I thought I have to change his name, but I didn't want to change it, the actual meaning or origin. So directly translated to Greek, it's Mikro Agori. So I took the word Mikro and just changed it to Miki, spelled Miki. So that's where Miki comes from. So it's still got a bit of the origin name in there. But yeah, Miki is now so attached to me. It was the
Literally.
complete opposite of what I wanted. This dog has the most separation anxiety I've ever witnessed in a dog in my whole life.
He would literally wait by the front door for Tina to come home. He would wait till he heard her car coming back in from uni. Like, he knew the different engine sounds, and he knew when Tina was coming in, and he would all of a sudden perk up and get excited. But before then, he would just lay down like splooting. But
He just sleeps. If I'm not at home, you can leave a steak out in front of him and he won't touch it until I get home, because he's just so devoted and so depressed when I'm not around.
Well, I think I think he realized that I advocated for him, because I think I'm his second favorite person in the world. He does.
Definitely. And I'm Aki's sixth favorite person in the world.
He does. I'm only the second person in the world that he'll actually wail for when he sees.
Oh yeah, if I leave the house and come back, whether it's 5 minutes, 5 hours,
5 seconds.
he squeals when he sees us. Well, us, I'm talking about me and my mom specifically. I've never seen him do it really for anyone else, but he literally cries from happiness, which is very, very sweet.
Then I remember that Tina had gone to university, and I kind of was left with this dog that was waiting for Tina most of the time. And this is how him and I bonded. But unfortunately for us, he had a few health issues when we got him. So, okay, firstly, in order to be allowed to adopt a dog from a shelter, you have to pay for the dog to be neutered. That's a rule. So we had that done, and we thought that was all very good. And then we kind of looked at this dog. That's what else you didn't mention, Tina. He didn't just look like a seal gone wrong. He had something called a cherry eye, if that wasn't bad enough, which meant that his third eyelid was kind of bunched up, and it would stand out. He looked like he had been drinking for days, like he hadn't slept for 5 years. And the poor dog just really looked awful. So we had to have surgery to correct the cherry eye. And then, just as I thought everything went well, I don't know if it was because of the surgery to be neutered, or he had that already and we hadn't noticed it, but we suddenly discovered that every time this dog squealed, which was every time he saw Tina, which happened regularly, a little bit of his bowel almost seemed to jump out.
He had a hernia, basically.
He had this hernia, but it was quite a severe hernia. And I think I've watched enough dog movies, Hachiko, Marley, and me, I don't know what, that I sit there sobbing. I thought, there's no way I can ever allow this dog to carry on like this in the off chance that the bowel might twist.
Yeah.
I thought that's not happening. So while Tina was at university, I thought maybe I should just take him back to the shelter, because they know him. They've done all his surgeries. The rest of them seem to be successful. And let me take him back there to have surgery. So I remember it was just me and him. And we had been bonding because Tina was at university most days. COVID hadn't hit yet. So I took little boy, or Miki as he was then called, to go and have this surgery. And I remember as I took him in there, firstly, he drove me insane because I had this very fancy Audi that I was driving that had a keyless go that was kind of in between the front two seats. And I was on the highway and my car kept stopping. And I kept thinking, like, is this a sign that he shouldn't go for surgery? Is something going wrong? Until I realized that Mickey's paw kept pressing the on-off button in the car. So we had a bit of a traumatic ride to
I
the
didn't know that.
to the shelter. You know what it was? Is that I had actually spread towels over because unfortunately for us,
Miki was a shedder. Oh, he is a shedder.
Mickey's a shedder.
He sheds a lot.
Part pug means that every item of clothing you own and every couch will be covered in fur. And I didn't want my car covered in fur, so I put a towel out, and he kept running around the towel and pressing the button. Anyway, he was really cute at the time, and him and I had begun to bond. And I remember when I took him for the surgery, and he just looked a little bit forlorn, and he looked sad. And I think what he thought, because they picked him up and they put him into a cage, preparing him for surgery. Plus, I wasn't allowed to feed him from 10 the night before. And I think what he thought is what he must have thought the first time when he ended up with 9 days left is, oh, they're bringing me back again. I'm not good enough for this home either. I don't bond with people here. I couldn't understand, but he just looked so depressed. And I kept trying to tell him that, don't worry, I'll be back. And he didn't seem to understand. He looked at me in this cage and he was completely forlorn. And I went hysterical. Then I wanted to check because then I got this paranoia that what if the doctors here aren't good enough? What if they're not going to do the surgery properly? And I went around trying to vet all the doctors and figuring out whether they were good enough to do the surgery on, as I was telling everyone in the place, on my dog.
Yeah, and she even called me up after I was in the library. Calls me up sobbing. Jo, my dog is going for surgery, and I'm just so scared for my dog. I love my little dog, and I was thinking, I wasn't there for the bonding, so I was like, what do you mean your dog? Don't you mean Tina's dog? What's going on? But she was going on and on about my dog, Jo, my dog. Ah,
I was so upset to leave him. And when I went to go fetch him 2 days later, I think he had really, now this poor dog had decided, he was obviously in a little bit of pain from the surgery. And I think he had just thought that this is it. Life is officially over. They've left me at the shelter. I don't know if he sensed, if the dogs know, like they sense the euthanasia. I couldn't understand what it was, but I'll never forget this image. It stayed with me always. He was lying in this tiny little cage where they have dogs that have just come from surgery while they're waiting for the owners to fetch them. And they generally they don't leave food in those cages. They feed the dogs at specific times, but they always leave water in the cages. And so he had a little bowl of water, and he was so done with life that he was lying in this cage and his ear had flipped into the water bowl. And he just let his ear sit in the water. And that broke my heart. I'll never forget that image. I keep telling Tina, like, the depression of just, like, he was just done with life. He kind of thought, you know what? Nobody wants me. If you want to euthanize me, do it because I'm done. Here I am. I'll just leave my ear in the bowl of water. And that kind of literally broke my heart. And I think him and I bonded even more then. But
no, you would never think that that's the same dog. He's a little happy guy.
and he has become, we started noticing, he has become the cutest, most photogenic dog. I mean,
He's got a
all dogs are
smile.
cute. All dogs are cute. You very seldom see a dog that isn't cute. Okay, except for the picture of him at the SPCA. That was not cute. But in general, every single dog is cute. But this one has got this, like, he gets so photogenic. And then he's not an angel. He definitely isn't. But he looks like an angel. He's got this angelic look. And I think what it is he probably reminds me of Tina. In fact, earlier today, she was just telling me why he's the perfect dog for her. She's also exactly like him. She's got this angelic look, but they both can be as grumpy as you cannot believe. And usually their grumpiness and their kind of, like, in inverted commas, attack isn't really an attack. It's just kind of telling people, get out of my face right now.
Oh. Yeah, so listen to that. But yeah, now he has ended up in London with me, and he is semi famous.
Yeah, he's getting there, isn't he?
But yeah, it all started when we moved from South Africa to Greece, and he came along, and then I studied for a year in London, And then,
So he stayed away from you for a year.
Yeah.
Joe and I looked after him
And
for a year. And I
Yeah.
mean, the story of how I got him to London is about 7 podcast episodes on its own. So I'm not going to talk about that right now.
but anyways, now he lives in London, and we had originally, Aliki, shout out to Aliki again, started his Instagram page because she was like, if you get a dog, like it's just, it now was lockdown when we started this page, and we were bored and everyone was on TikTok and doing all these things, and she decided we need to make a dog Instagram, which we didn't put a lot of effort into. We had about 100 followers, which was just our family and friends. And when Miki moved to London, a lot of my friends would tell me they miss seeing him because obviously I would take him everywhere with me. And they wanted updates of how he was doing in London, and my family wanted updates. And I thought, you know what? The easiest way for me to just show everyone is to just post on this little Instagram page, which has 100 followers. And everyone can see how he's doing, and all the cute photos will be there. And I also thought at the time, you know what, everyone's making reels. Let me try and make some reels of him because it's cute and whatever. And suddenly, a reel that I made
one
blew
reel.
up and got 15 million views on Instagram.
It's actually
And
16 million.
well,
The mom
thank
really
you.
keeps track.
Momager
The
over here.
momager
Yes,
really keeps
I'm
track.
the momager because he's my grandchild actually. And the thing, guys, the funny thing is, if during this podcast you're listening to Tina and you're thinking, Leah sounds normal, Joe sounds normal, and Tina
Said pause on normal.
just for fun, and Tina sounds a little bit nasal because in and amongst all of this, Tina has some dog allergies.
Which I don't care about.
I mean, currently she's
Here in Greece, so we have our dog Zoe.
she's actually allergic to Joe's dog. She's allergic to her dog. She's allergic to all
Which-
dogs, but
I'm allergic to most things in general, so
that doesn't stop her.
And not to cut the story short or anything, even though this is by no means a short episode. As they say, you know, the rest is history. Miki is living his best London life and doing so fantastically well over there with Tina, his soulmate. And I think we should finish off this podcast like we always do and talk about things that we're grateful for.
Okay, so as always, I'm grateful for this podcast. Thanks, Joey.
I'm also grateful, Mom.
I'm grateful that we had Tina with us today.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I'm grateful that we convinced George to let us adopt little Miki.
Aw.
I'm grateful that we adopted Miki. I'm grateful that we had an opportunity to tell his story today.
Yeah, it's been really great spreading his story.
And for anyone out there that doesn't know Miki yet,
yeah, shout out to Miki on Instagram. He's Fine Boy Miki if you want to check him out.
I promise you guys that if you ever need to de-stress, you just have to watch a few of Miki's reels and it's going to put you in a good mood instantly.
That's Miki for Miki.
On that note, I'd just like to say how grateful I am for all our pets out there that give us so much love and joy.
And just make our lives that much better.
Absolutely. And also, last but not least, I'm really grateful to all our listeners and subscribers.
Me too. Thanks, guys. We really, really appreciate it. This project started out as a small thing to help me bond with my mom even more and to help her make her dream come true. And I'm so overwhelmed and just in awe of everyone so far who's been sending us messages and has been listening and subscribing. It's really amazing. Thank you, guys.
We really appreciate all the love and support, and keep listening. We promise to entertain you with more and more fun stories.
Yeah, so stick around. Thanks, guys. Bye.
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 Bye.